There's some city ordinance in Des Moines here that's they're trying to decriminalize marijuana here in Des Moines, but it's all they got here is like CBD oil, uh, legalization for medical use or something like that. I don't know what it all entails. But there's a city ordinance saying they did it for because there's apparently the state is the fifth highest. Uh, they arrest minorities or whatever. They're rated the fifth highest for arrest minorities for marijuana or something like that. So they're trying to decriminalize it in Des Moines so that people aren't arrested for marijuana, and it'll get rid of the minority report or whatever you want to call it. Uh, I might not be wording this properly, but that's basically what I'm looking at. And the chief of police says he's not going to, if it's not state law, he's not going to enforce it. In other words, it's a good thing in one way, and it's good, but it's a city ordinance, and I don't know. I was kind of when I first heard it, I thought, okay, it's an ordinance, doesn't mean it's a law, but basically it's like a city law. And I was looking up like you have to have a city ordinance on building because for whatever it's like a building ordinance. So it's the same thing. If you want somebody to build something in your house, and that city ordinance might or might not be a good thing, I guess. But anyway, on this, it's a good thing. But they did it, out of minority instead of just the decriminalization of it. They just chose that subject matter. Apparently, that's where they seen some sort of prejudice or whatever. And but that also means that if it was a state law that he would abide, he wouldn't be some idiot that would go around and continue to so basically he's saying, well, once they pass it into law, and basically he's not what the police chief said is he's not going to change any way that they're not going to change their arrests. That something about there was 261 arrests that had marijuana involved, and out of those 261, only 55 were actually arrests that had to do with where marijuana was the only reason. So it was like 21% of the 261 arrests were just basically marijuana only arrests. The rest were probably whatever else was part of it. Now I don't know if that's just last year or when that was, but it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a good it's because a lot of I think they did the same thing. They decriminalized it in New Orleans, and the police down there were glad because then they didn't have to enforce it. And but it's still not. It's still not legal down. I mean, it's not legal. It's just decriminalized. And I think it's just in New Orleans. And so that's basically the same thing they're doing here. I think that might be the same reason they did it down there, because they were saying blacks were being arrested for marijuana, and it was there was a high amount of arrests for that. So anyway, the police chief said he's not going to abide by that ordinance, and there's protests. I don't know. I don't know how big a deal the protests are, but they're apparently people aren't happy with it. That the police aren't just shunning, not arresting, just saying, okay, we're not going to arrest people with marijuana, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because now if they was if people was wanting, and they were saying not enough people showed up for this. I don't know I didn't even read who put this forward. But they're saying not enough people showed up to the meetings or whatever it was that passed this ordinance for input. They was looking for more community input, and nobody showed up. Where were these protesters? Maybe they heard about it after the fact, and now they're saying, well, we want this. If it was negative against them, they wouldn't want it. If it was like, okay, we're going to enforce whatever now, and the police said, okay, we're going to start enforcing this, although it's not a law, and they would, and that's, I don't know, I'm kind of tongue tied with it. I'd rather not have people not have to pay taxes to have people sit in jail for freaking smoking marijuana. Now, I'm not talking if they're smoking marijuana and they're shooting at people, uh, robbing a bank and they're all freaking, whatever. I'm not for that. But if that's if all they're doing is that, I'd rather have it decriminalized. I'd rather have it the law dropped against it, so we don't have to deal with that and having to listen to these people. But I wouldn't want it to become a tax base either, where they want more people doing it. They might not say they want more people doing it, because they're looking at the taxes in other states and how much money that they're making in taxes. And they're got to be salivating that they're people, it's a $1 billion industry in like Washington and stuff. So they're saying, well, we could make some money on this. I don't like that, because that's going to make more. They're going to want more people doing it, which is going to cause more people to do it, and that's not what they're after. It shouldn't be what they're after. It should just be legalized for not for sale. I'd rather have people just have to grow their own. Instead of just the quick fix of going and buying it, they have to grow their own, and they can't sell it. They can grow it and consume it, but they can't sell it or trade it. Because trade would be like, well, I want that car, and here's 10 pounds of marijuana that's, whatever. And that would, I don't know if that would matter, but, it wouldn't, but then again, if there was a trade, I guess trade would be trade. It wouldn't be, I don't know if you can tax trade like that or not. But anyway, if it was taxed, it would be, more people would be doing it, because the lawmakers would want more for it, because they'd say, well, we could use this for this program. Yeah, well, I wouldn't want it taxed. Anyway, that's what's going on here. They're trying to decriminalize, or they have decriminalized it, or trying to decriminalize it. I don't know what they're doing. They're saying to turn the cheek to marijuana is what I think it's not really decriminalized. It's more like they're saying, I don't know if it's just a marijuana, if there's like a joint, if they're doing something, and I don't know, whatever it is, and they search in the car maybe, or they look in the car and they see a joint on the console, they don't arrest the person for it. They just say, oh, they got a joint. So I don't know. That's what they're passing here, but it's not statewide. It's just the city, and it's kind of sounds like in a debacle right now.